Okay, to start with, you're going to cut your square. You can cut it anywhere. You can cut it in half or here. And you just are going to practice doing a seam and a hem, a very simple version of each. So to start with, you're going to take your two pieces and sew them back together. You have to line up raw edges even, right sides together. So this would be the pretty side if there was one. Raw edges even. And I'm going to do a couple pins just to keep it from moving. And also, I'm going to put the pins out of the way so that I don't have to move them once I start sewing. If I put them right up against the hem or the seam, then I have to move them. And I'm going to line up the edge of my fabric with the edge of the presser foot, and that's exactly 1/4 inch away from the needle. So my seam allowance will be 1/4 inch. I'm going to start a little bit on the fabric, not on the very edge. I like to place my needle by hand so I know exactly where it's going to go. And then if you want to save from getting a bunch of tangles at the beginning, you can take that first stitch by hand, just turning the hand wheel to do it, right? And then you, again, pull them out of the way, and then you start sewing. Back tack by reversing at the beginning, just a couple stitches, and then sew. The whole time I'm lining all of this up with the edge of the presser foot. You can even use a piece of washi tape to keep everything lined up. I could put my tape up there, but I think I'm going to put my tape down here where I can actually control the fabric. Right, so now I know it's going to be lined up. By the time it gets to there, it's already a done deal. Stop there, flip it over to the other side, and you're going to go back down the other way, switching your stitch width to 5. Take it slow at the beginning, and it's wrapping the edge. I'm never sewing over that first seam line. I'm only wrapping the edge. Not only is it stronger on the edge, it secures that seam line, but your fabric won't fray anymore, and it also looks better. So when you have clothing, you don't want all that fraying. You're going to open it up, and now we're going to do the hem all the way around the outside. So I'm going to get it ready by turning it in and putting some pins all the way around. You can also do an iron, but don't do both. Do either iron or pin, right? On the corner here, before I start each corner, I'm going to cut. And then when I fold it in, oh, that didn't work. Okay, don't bother cutting. Don't worry about that for now. But when I go to do that corner, see how that little piece is sticking out? Make sure nothing sticks out, okay? We're gonna keep it super flat, make it very professional looking. You're gonna pin the whole way around. Oh, my thread got out of my needle. And again, placing it by hand. I like to start it by hand, keep it neater. And I don't want to keep my finger under there, so I can use either my seam ripper or the tip of a pin. Get up to the corner, make sure the needle is in. I'm going to lift up the presser foot, rotate. And then I'm going to back up a little bit just to make sure that little tip stays down. And you see how close I am to the edge of the fabric? That's less than 1/8 of an inch away from the edge, right? Generally when I sew, I pick something, anything to line up to keep that consistency the whole way along, right? And I want you to do all 4 sides at once. So I'm very experienced at folding in 1/4 inch. You're welcome to try this, or iron or pin. get up to here, I have it ready. Keep that all tucked in. And the reason I want you to do all 4 sides at once so you can practice corners. Keep it in, turn. Okay, I gave you a big enough piece that if you do mess up, all you have to do is cut the seam off just like this and start all over again. Okay, I gave you a very large piece, so it's for you to practice with, so don't worry about cutting it down. And when you're finished, you'll have a piece like this where you can iron this and see how that looks. You have the hem all the way around and the really good finished seam. All right.